Welcome back to my channel Ankura Education. First of all, I would like to thank every subscriber who subscribed my channel, and thank you for your support and encouragement, and keep watching my channel. So, our today's session is about the leftover topics of chapter number 2, that is about the semiconductors. So, let us go to discuss about the Einstein relation, Hall effect, and some of the leftover topics. Let's go to the topics now. To Einstein relation, it says that at fixed temperature the value of diffusion constant, say d, and the mobility, that is mu, is a constant. So we can express the Einstein relation as dp by mu p is equal to dn by mu n is equal to a constant. Let us take this constant as Vt, that is the volt equivalent of temperature. So we know that the value of Vt is equal to 11 T by 11,600. So we can write this expression also as 26 millivolts. It is equal to 26 millivolts. So Vt is taken as 26 millivolts or 0.026 volts. So if we substitute this value in the above expression, we get dn by mu n is equal to 0.026, or we can write it as mu n is equal to dn by 0.026. So by simplifying this, that means 1 by 0.026 value can be written as mu n is equal to approximately 39 dn. This is an expression for the mobility of electrons in terms of diffusion constant, that is of n type, so dn. So similarly we can write the expression for mu p as 39 dp. So these two are very important to remember. From these two we can generalize the expression for the mobility in terms of diffusion constant as mu is equal to 39 d. This is called as the Einstein relation. Very important for solving the problems as well as in objective type questions. Now I would like to discuss about one more small topic, that is about the carrier lifetime. So due to the thermal agitation, they produce electron hole pairs, while electron and hole pair get disappears due to recombination. On an average, an electron or hole exists for tau n or tau p, that is the carrier lifetime of electrons, and carrier lifetime of holes is represented as tau n and tau p. So on an average, an electron or hole exists for tau n or tau p seconds before recombination. So it is called as a carrier lifetime. So the carrier lifetime ranges from nanoseconds to microseconds. That means the value of tau n and tau p ranges from nanoseconds to microseconds. So we can write the expression for carrier lifetime of electrons, tau n is equal to ln square by dn, where ln is the diffusion length. This is called as the diffusion length, and dn is a diffusion constant. Diffusion constant. So this is the expression for carrier lifetime of electrons. Similarly, we can write the expression for holes as Lp square by dp. These two are also very important in solving the problems as well as in objective type questions. So from these things we can write the diffusion length expression as ln is equal to under root of dn into tau n. So in this problem, suppose in the problems if they specified diffusion constant and carrier lifetime and they asked to find the diffusion length, then we can use this formula ln is equal to under root of dn into tau n. So similarly we can write LP expression also. So LP is equal to under root of dp into tau p. This is also very important to remember. So from these things we can generalize the expression for carrier lifetime as tau is equal to L by D and diffusion length is equal to under L square by D, and L is equal to under root of D into tau. These are the generalized expressions without N and P. So if we remember this, we can write the expression for N and P very simple. I would like to add one more concept, that is the generation rate. So this was asked in IAS exam in previous IAS exam. So the generation rate is the ratio of excess electron, that is say delta n, to the minority carrier lifetime, that is tau p. If the generation rate is of electrons, then the minority carriers are of holes. So we can write the generation rate expression as generation rate is equal to delta n by tau p electron hole pairs per centimeter cube per second. This was asked in previous IAS exam, so better to remember this also. So that's it for carrier lifetime. Now let us discuss about the one more important concept of semiconductors, that is about the Hall effect. This Hall effect is applicable for semiconductors, that means say SC, that is the short form of semiconductors. So this Hall effect is applicable for semiconductors, whereas the Faraday's law, that is the Faraday's law, is applicable for metals and conductors. This Hall effect is used to find the behavior of semiconductors, whereas the Faraday's law is used to find the behaviors of metals and conductors. So this is asked in objective times for several times, so better to remember. So Hall effect is applicable for semiconductors. So if a metal or semiconductor carrying a current I is placed in a perpendicular magnetic field B, an electric field E is induced in the direction perpendicular to both I and B. This phenomenon is known as the Hall effect. So I would like to explain it by using a diagram. So let us go to it. In this the current I is in the direction of positive x, that is here the current direction is along the positive x direction, and B is in the positive z direction. So a force will be exerted in negative y direction. So a force will be exerted in negative y direction if the semiconductor is of n type, suppose. So that current is carried by electrons. These electrons will be forced downwards towards the side 1. These electrons will be forced downwards towards the side 1. So side 1 becomes negatively charged with respect to this side. So according to this, the side 1 will become negative when compared to side 2. Hence a potential VH, that is called as the Hall voltage. Hall voltage is developed. Hall voltage appears between the surfaces 1 and 2. So due to this movement of electrons, a voltage is developed across the surfaces 1 and 2. This voltage is known as the Hall voltage and is represented by V. This Hall voltage, that is VH, is positive for N type. This is positive for N type and negative for P type semiconductors. So the surface 2 becomes positive with respect to surface 1 for N type semiconductors. Similarly, the surface 2 will become negative with respect to surface 1 for P type semiconductors. So we can write the expression for epsilon, that is the applied electric field, as VH by D. Let us take this as equation number 1. Let us take this as equation number 1. The induced electric force compensated by magnetic field. This is the induced electric field compensated by the magnetic field. So E epsilon is equal to BeV. This is from Faraday's law. So we can write the expression for epsilon as B into V. Let us take this as equation number 2, where B is the magnetic flux. This is known as the magnetic flux. So we know the expression for current density of electrons is given by n mu n into q epsilon, or we can change it as nq vn, or we can write it as rho n vn. Similarly, the expression for current density due to holes is given by p mu p into q epsilon, or pq into vp, or that is equal to rho p into vp. So from these two, we can generalize the expression for current density as J is equal to rho into V. So we can write from these two as J is equal to rho into V. Let us take this as equation number star. So therefore, we can write the expression for J as J is equal to rho into V, and V is equal to, we know that I by W D. So from this figure, we can write the voltage as I by W into D. So I by W into D is known as the V. That is a voltage. So let us take this as equation number 3. So from equation number 1, we can write VH is equal to epsilon into D. If we refresh that equation, we get this expression as VH is equal to epsilon into D. And VH epsilon is known as the B into V into D. That is from equation number 2, we can write the expression for epsilon as B into V. So B into JD by rho. B into JD by rho. We can write it as J by rho, because J is equal to rho V. That implies V is equal to J by rho. So if we substitute the value of J here, we get VH is equal to B into JD by rho. So J is equal to I by WD. That implies JD is equal to what? I by W. So substitute this JD in equation number VH, that is equation number 4. So from that we can write VH is equal to epsilon into D, that is equal to BI by rho W. This is the expression for Hall voltage in terms of magnetic flux and current and resistivity and W. So this is a very important expression to remember. Let us take this as equation number 5. This is the final expression for Hall voltage. So from that we can write rho is equal to BI by VH into W. So we can write the expression for density, that is rho is equal to BI by VH into W. So the Hall coefficient, that is denoted by RH, is equal to 1 by rho. So RH is equal to 1 by rho is equal to VH into W by B into I, where VH is the Hall voltage and W is the width, B is the magnetic flux and I is the current. This is the expression for Hall coefficient in terms of Hall voltage. So let us take this as equation number 6. So from equation number 5 we got this expression. So this is very important and this can be asked in many objective exams. And we know that the conductivity of n-type semiconductor sigma n is equal to n mu n q. That can be written as rho n into mu n. And similarly sigma p is equal to p mu p into q. So we can write it as rho p into mu p. So from this we can generalize the expression for sigma as rho into mu. So 1 by rho is nothing but 1 by rho into sigma is equal to mu. Sigma can be written as 1 by rho. So we can write it as mu is equal to sigma into 1 by rho is equal to sigma into RH. Because RH is equal to 1 by rho, we can write it as mu is equal to sigma into RH. This is one of the important formulas of Hall effect. So therefore we can write the expression for the mobility of charge carriers as mu is equal to sigma into RH, where sigma is the conductivity and RH is the Hall coefficient. So this is very important to remember. Here we have assumed that the drift velocity v of all the carriers is same, but actually it will not be so, because in practical case the drift velocity may not be same for all. So due to the thermal hesitation they gain energy, their velocity increases, and also collision with other atoms increases. So for all particles v will not be the same. So hence a correction has to be made, and it has been found that satisfactory results will be obtained if 1 by RH is taken up as 3 pi by 8 sigma. So if the value of RH is corrected like this, then it will be applicable for all kinds of conditions. So we can modify the expression for mobility as mu is equal to 8 sigma by 3 pi into RH. So this is a modified form of mobility expression by using the Hall coefficient. So multiply RH by 8 sigma by 3 pi, then it becomes a modified Hall coefficient. Thus, mobility of carriers can be determined experimentally using the Hall effect. So finally we can say that with the help of Hall effect, we can measure the mobility of electrons and holes, that is the mu, mobility of electrons and holes, and we can also find whether the semiconductor is of P or N type. That means the semiconductor is P or N type is also can be determined with the help of Hall effect. And there is another advantage of Hall effect, that is it is also used to multiply two quantities. So we can write the advantage of Hall effect as it is used to multiply two quantities. Why? Because I will give you small analysis, that is Fn is equal to minus Q into Vn into B, that is the force is equal to Q into V into magnetic flux. So we can write the expression for epsilon as Fn by Q, that is equal to minus of Vn into B. Here the Hall effect can also be used to multiply the velocity as well as the magnetic flux also. So this is the case for N type. So we can write it similarly for P type also. So we can replace N here by P for P type semiconductor. So the advantages of Hall effect are it is used to find the mobility as well as the semiconductor, whether it is P type or N type, and it can also be used to multiply two quantities. For example, say velocity and magnetic flux for a semiconductor. So this is a very important effect in case of semiconductors. With the help of Hall effect, we can find the displacement, magnetic flux, power and current. So this is very important in solving the problems, as well as this can be asked in objective type questions for any competitive exams. So very important to remember. Once again I am stressing this point, so better to remember these relations and by heart these relations. Sorry. I'd like to add one more small topic, that is about the continuity equation. Here I am not going into detail, so I would like to just define this. So the recombination rate is given as, so let us take it as R. So the recombination rate R is equal to dP by dt, and that can be written as Pn minus Pn naught by tau. The expression for the time rate of change in carrier density is called as the continuity equation. So we can define the continuity equation as the expression for the time rate of change in carriers density is called as the continuity equation. So the lifetime of holes in N-type semiconductors is given by tau p is equal to delta p by R. So delta p can be written as Pn minus Pn naught by dP by dt, because the recombination rate is dP by dt. Similarly, we can write the expression for tau n as delta n by R, that is equal to Np minus Np minus Np naught by dx by dt. So these are the expression for the lifetime of lifetime of N-type and P-type semiconductors. So this continuity equation describes how the carrier density in a given elemental value of crystal varies with respect to time. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my lecture and keep watching my channel. If you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.